Three lifelong friends, 6 trusty balls, and endless NFL takes. Welcome to Three Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast.
Welcome to episode 31 of Three Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast. Avery, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty excited. I didn't realize we chose the team with that dog in them.
Dude, Baker is a dog. Baker Mayfield. Baker touchdown maker.
Baker freaking Mayfield. Wasn't that Rich Eisen? He's like,
yeah,
Baker
I saw that
freaking,
today, yeah.
And then they're like, I think his middle name is Regan. And like, Baker friggin' Mayfield.
But I mean, if you cut through it, right, they've won 2 games in a row now on the very last second play. So, like, you feel good about that, but it'd be nice to win more comfortably.
Yeah, I feel great about the offense. The defense scares me a little bit, but they came through when they needed to.
Absolutely.
To win in Seattle is a big deal.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I was talking with my cousin. That was kind of one of the factors for choosing this team. He's a big Smith and Jigba fan and huge Seahawks fan. But yeah, I was surprised after the Eagles game. I didn't know how this would go because I just know that it just doesn't go great when you go to Seattle, especially from Florida. So big win.
Yeah. And I do have to say, Will, I was genuinely rooting for the Rams. I was.
Right, and I was rooting for the Bucs. I was. I'm happy they won.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be rooting for the Rams unless they play the Bucs. Then I'll root for the Rams. Just because you're a Rams fan now, I will root for the Rams.
Same. I feel kind of the same.
Yeah.
I feel like my best
like you're my step favorite team.
Yeah.
You're not my team, but you're my friend's team.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So just so everybody knows, Will decided that he didn't want internet anymore, and so he's joining us from his phone today. And so we'll see how it goes with his video and audio quality, but we're going to give it a shot. We've been through worse. Avery's house has been on fire during one of these episodes, so we'll see how this goes.
Do I look like I'm recording a 1970s potato?
More like a 2003 Motorola Razr.
Nice. So
classic VGA camera.
I'm actually not worried about it because my feed here, my picture of myself looks really good. And you guys look a bit below normal, but like my feed looks really good over here for me. So
fortunately, I think it records it locally, so you should be good. It should everything should come out. By the time everyone's looking at it, should be fine.
Like your cousin Garrett, he did it from his phone, and that episode came out fine. That's the only the only episode I've actually gone back to look at because I'm wanting to see how the quality of his phone turned out. So I'm less worried about it.
I remember watching a clip of that, and I'm like, I don't remember it looking like this. And I'm like, oh, because like we couldn't see him. He was like 4 pixel blobs. And I'm like, oh, this actually doesn't look that bad.
All right. Well, Will, why don't you get us started with your Week 5 recap?
Here we go. We've got Rams-Niners Thursday night. Both teams forgot how to play pass defense. Also, as a Rams fan, true bleed blue Rams fan for a whole week now, I agree with Sean McVay's choice to go for it. That 4th down in overtime there. Because if you kick that field goal, that game's going to end in a tie. And tying is for losers. Losing is for like you tried to win, but tying is for losers. So I agree with Sean McVay going for it. It's one of those decisions
Shout out Dallas.
Where exactly you make the 1st down and you're the best coach in the world. You don't get it, and then the worst coach ever get this guy out of here. But as a new fan here, I like it. I like the aggressiveness. Anyway, that's enough with that game. Vikings-Browns. Oh, Carl Wentz out here showing us he can still play football. Out here showing us that every snap can be the greatest play in NFL history. And Dylan Gabriel looked really good. Good enough to where the Browns are shipping Joe Flacco out of the building. Jets-Cowboys. Let's remember, Cowboys fans, the Jets haven't beaten anybody this year. Let's not get over our skis. You are not winning the Super Bowl because you beat the Jets. That should pump the brakes. Giants-Saints. The Giants used up all their ability to win last week, and they left it all behind. It's also very hard to win any game from any team when you lose a turnover battle 5-0. That's real rough. You got 3 fumbles, 2 picks. That's just real rough. Raiders, Colts. The Colts only scored in the second and third quarter and still put up 40 points. They did not score in the first or fourth. So 2 quarters of football and they put up 40 points. I do feel sorry for the Raiders here, though. The Colts lost last week to the Rams, first loss of the season, and they absolutely took it out of the Raiders here. Dolphins, Panthers, go ahead and check on your Dolphins fans in your life because they are feeling this week. You go up 17-0 against the Panthers and then lose that game. If you've seen the clip of Mike McDaniel walking into the tunnel at the very end of that game, he looks like the most beaten, sad puppy I've ever seen in my life. The tag on his shoe is just flopping around. His head's down. He's rough. And you got Broncos, Eagles. You won't find me saying this a lot, but some questionable reffing calls in this one. Either reffing decisions, either no calls or actual calls. But when you blow a 17-0 or a 17-3 lead in the fourth quarter, Eagles, you kind of deserve to lose that game. Ravens, Texans. I heard this stat. The Ravens had 7 of their top 7 highest paid players out that game. And so when you are missing your top money, it's going to be real hard to win. But that does not explain the whooping that the Texans put on it. You have 44-10 or something like that. That's I mean, there's nothing you can't excuse that. They're all athletes. Titans, Cardinals. And I mean this when I say it. How hard is it to hold on to the damn football across the end line? How many weeks in a row are we going to see this?
Chad Powers.
Yeah, seriously. And we have another Chad Powers promo. Thank you.
I want to pause real quick, and point out that the thing that happened with Chad Powers, because I watched that, is ironic that he's wearing an Oregon uniform, because the first time I had ever seen that happen was in person in Salt Lake at the Oregon-Utah game where the Utah player did that. And since then, dude, I think I've seen that like 5 times. And I'm like, that has to be if you're a skill position player, if you're a running back or a quarterback or a wide receiver and you see that, you would probably be like, dude, it's kind of like holding your phone outside of a moving car where you just feel like, oh, I got to like hold it tight. Like, I don't ever want to drop the ball because I don't want to be that guy. And the fact that it's happened that often, I'm like, dude, the kids aren't learning. Anyway.
Right. And the thing that they should, that the high school and lower levels, I'm sure even the NFL levels all the way down, they should be and are telling their players, run the ball all the way to the referee and just hand us the referee to back to the end zone. Take the ball all the way to it. Don't drop it early. Don't just carry it all the way in.
Forrest Gump, run out the stadium with it.
Exactly. This also had the most talked about play of the weekend where Cam Ward threw the pick and then the guy fumbled and it got hit into the end zone. So on that play, just a real quick digression here for stat-wise, Cam Ward threw an interception, so he gets a stat for an interception, but does not also get the stat for the touchdown on that. So they had an offensive touchdown, not thrown by anybody, not ran in by anybody. It was a 0-yard fumble recovery touchdown. I think that is, I think that sucks for Cam Ward, truly, but don't throw the pick. Then we've got Lions, Bengals. The Bengals are so bad they decided to trade a divisional rival for the second oldest man in the NFL. Also, welcome to the NFL this season, Jamar Chase. You finally decided to show up and play. I'm glad you're here now. After I traded
AJ Brown, we're still waiting.
Yeah, no joke. Commanders, Chargers. Feels a bit early in the season to be saying this, but Chargers are going to Charger, right? Here we are. They lost 1 and then lose 2 in a row. They usually crumble later in the season. This year, they figured to fast track it. You're going to crumble early. We have Pats, Bills. This was probably the best Drake and Josh episode we've ever seen. Stephon Diggs took it personally that he's no longer with the Bills, and they showed. Chiefs, Jags, probably the most exciting Monday night game we'll get all year somehow. Trevor Lawrence is lucky he's still young, because if you get any of these guys, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, any of these older guys, they trip and fall, they're not getting back up. Play's over. It's done. Instead, Trevor Lawrence gets up, scores game-winning touchdown.
Gets up twice.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah, gets up twice. Yeah, looked like a baby deer back there. Fell down again. I'm going to talk about that play for a second here. Sorry, that's our Week 5 wrap-up. Pretty entertaining week overall in football. So
he got dropped out of the womb like a baby deer, learning to walk and score a touchdown at the same time.
Have you guys seen the watch Chris Jones angle of that play where Chris Jones
Yes.
does nothing?
Yes.
I want to talk about that, and I have a fairly strong take on this. There are 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I think Trevor Lawrence may be the only one who falls down that play and actually they stands back up. I think 9 times out of 10, the referees are blowing that play dead. It's just, quarterbacks fell down, protect him, play's over. But Trevor Lawrence immediately tries to stand back up, which is something that defenses are not used to. Usually when your quarterback falls down at any point, the play is over. And so he tries to stand back up, doesn't work, stands back up again, and then you see Chris Jones start to make a move for it. At that point, he's on the opposite side of the field, and Trevor has an angle to go into the end zone. So Chris Jones is out here getting a lot of hate for this, when in reality, he is so trained, and these defenses are so trained to not get a penalty on it, that when a quarterback goes to the ground, the play is done, stop play. Whether there's a whistle or anything, it's over. Even if a quarterback tries to go to the ground. Sorry if you heard my child yelling.
That sounded like a ghost.
I do believe that was my daughter. Even if a quarterback starts to go to the ground, the play's over. It's when they start the slide, you can no longer hit them. And so I think that's why he's able to score a touchdown at all. Is that the Chiefs defense stops playing because the quarterback hit the ground not once but twice in the same play.
Do you think that's something, because I can't remember if it was in college or the NFL, I think it was last season, when a quarterback did like a little fake slide and then pops right back up? Okay.
That was Kenny Pickett back when he was at Pitt. He was still in college.
Now, that's one of the things that to me is a little bit like that Mahomes play as well, where he goes out of bounds but then trucks the guy, and it's like, okay, you can't get it both ways now. Like, we have these rules to protect you, but don't take advantage of it like it's for your protection. Right. And so I wonder, with this, kind of in the same vein, I watched that Chris Jones play. That didn't look like anyone who was invested in that play. That was my problem with it. Was like, dude, you looked uninterested. You looked like the ref out there just standing watching what was happening. Where it was like, look, I'm not going to say that. I just think you should have put more effort in there. But I do agree that, yeah, when you see the quarterback fall down twice, like, and the ball hasn't left, it's like, okay, yeah, the play should be dead. But when you see him just peeling out, I mean, at the very least, it's kind of like a receiver or a cornerback following the receiver into the end zone. I at least want to see you sprinting until he hits the end zone. Like, I don't want to see you stop. The play's not over yet. And now everyone's dropping balls at the end zone. Like, get up there. So, like, the same thing, it's more of an effort thing. And this is my kind of general gripe with professional sports over college, is that with college, everything is an audition all the time. Whereas in the NFL, once you get paid, like, you got paid. You know, so it's like, I mean, you still want to keep getting paid, but I don't know. So that's my kind of take on it. But that is an interesting perspective of like, yeah, that quarterback did hit the ground twice. So.
Yeah, that's wild. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started here. We were going to do a couple different games today, but again, Will decided to cancel his internet right before the show. And so
I should be good, actually. I've got all my stuff.
Oh, you have all your notes and everything?
I should be good. I hotspotted in for long enough to get it into a spreadsheet, and we should be good.
Nice. Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to do 2 games today. So we're going to go ahead and start with my game, which is a game of over or under. And so as you guys know, I am a big fan of stats. And so I spend a lot of time throughout the week just kind of looking at just random stats throughout the NFL. And this week I was looking at stats, and I came across some stats from players and I noticed that these players are on track to break some single season NFL records. And so what I want to do is I'm going to give you guys the name of a player who's on track to break a single season record. I'll tell you what they're on track for. Then I'll tell you what the single season record is. And I want you guys to tell me if this player will finish over or under what the NFL single season record is. So I've got 5 players here. So the first one is Bucks wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. He is on pace for 1,513 receiving yards, which would break the single season record by a rookie receiver for receiving yards with 1,486 receiving yards set by Puka Nacua. Will Egbuka finish over or under that record?
I'm going to go ahead and say under. Not by a
Some
lot.
Bucks
but-
fan you are.
Yeah. I just, to me, I don't see it being as sustainable. And I mean that more from like a team perspective, meaning like the same way that your receiver's not going to get a lot of fantasy points if your team's already up by 20. You know, it's like we don't need to be throwing the ball. I see it more as like, look, if Emeka gets a lot more attention on him, then we'll throw to other guys. Kind of like A.J. Brown is not getting a lot of touches, but their team is winning, you know, for the most part. So, like, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, like, if all we need to do is take 2 corners to put on you, and then we can run our game, you know, kind of unbothered, then I'm all for that. But I would love to see him do it. I think he's more than capable of it. But I think eventually defenses start realizing this guy's on a historic run. At the very least, we can shut that down and force him to go somewhere else. So I see it more as like respect to opposing defenses that they're going to play, that like you're not going to just let this rookie just run all over you. So
I actually disagree. I think he beats it. So far, we are 5 years into the season, and I think 4 of the 5 or 5 of the 5 have come down to a last-second drive or the final drive for the Bucs. Win or lose, right? You lost to the Eagles, so everything has come down to the wire, where the Bucs have had to play a full 60 minutes every single week. And so with that, Ibuka is not the number one currently. Whether it's Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, he's the rookie here. He's not the veteran. And so he's going to take a back seat to those guys. And if by chance they both happen to be in the same week, doesn't seem like that's going to be the case right now, but if they both happen to be in and Ibuka slips to the slot like he played in college, I think he's going to be even more open. Because who do you guard? Do you guard Mike Evans? Do you guard Chris Godwin? Or do you guard Emeka Egbuka? You've got 3 wonderful wide receivers there. And Baker, as we said already in the show, is an absolute dog. And it doesn't matter if there's 5 people trying to tackle him. He's going to be a full Tony Romo, spin out and throw it anyway. And so it's good to watch. And then they've got Bucky and Rashad White back there who make you respect the run game. And so the play action works incredibly effectively. They have a really, really good offense. As you said earlier, their defense is a bit suspect right now. But that's going to keep their offense cooking all the way through. And he's currently sitting at 445 yards right through the 5 games. Is that accurate? Okay, make sure I've got enough. Yeah, 25 receptions, 17.8 yards per reception. That's huge. And so he's not just getting, I mean, he may just be getting short stuff as well, but like he's getting, when he's getting the ball, he's making a play out of it every time. Right? I would like to see him do it. The Bucs are a fun team to watch because of this. So I think he does do it. Just like we saw with the Bucs with the Mike Evans thing, 1,000-yard season last year. If they get close to a record, they go for it. They want to keep things going. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we get to week 16, they've got 2 games left, and he's sitting at, 1,200 yards. He's like, I mean, we could probably do it. We could probably break that record. Let's go for it. And so I would not be surprised if we get close, and he is close, and they just start feeding him the ball. So I could see it happening.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Avery on this one, and I'm going to go with under. And
but Will's the Bucs fan here.
Yeah. Well, the reason why is you look at his game log. So he started off with 67 yards. Then the next game he had 29 yards. Then the next game he had 85, then 101, then 163. It's not every week that you're getting 163 yards. You're not going to do that every week. As great as that was, and I would love to see that every week, it's just not going to happen every single week. There are going to be weeks where he does have 29 yards, but he can still be effective as a weapon even though he's only getting 29 yards. So I think he can get close to it. I think he can get within range, but I don't think he's going to quite get there just because I feel like other teams, like Avery said, are going to key in on him. And I think that, there will be games when Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are on the field with him where he does get a lot of of catches and yards because those two other guys are on the field as well. But I feel like there's going to be games where he's kind of the center of attention because a defense, they look at what he's done so far and they say, we need to stop him. And so I feel like he can do it, but I feel like he's just going to finish maybe a little bit underneath that record. All right, so the second one is Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. He is on pace for 1,999 receiving yards, which would break the record of 1,964 receiving yards set by Calvin Johnson. Will Puka Nacua finish over or under that record?
Under.
Why do you say under?
Because I don't think he's beating Calvin Johnson. Also, I think that right now, kind of the same thing you just said. But before Emeka's last game, would we have been talking about him getting to 1,500 yards? I feel like this is such a brief stint. Although I will say that he's getting more catches than anybody. If you look here, give me one sec.
52 receptions on the season.
Yeah, he's. As far as just, consistency in a clear cut, like ever present weapon. He's there. But when you beat out the next best player in yards per game by 11, and then by 30 yards for the next best receiver, Justin Jefferson, it's like, that's pretty impressive. And so the same thing with Emeka. I'm trying to stay consistent here. I just don't think you can keep that up for long enough. I think, again, defenses, like, I like Nacua, BYU boy. Puka, by the way, that's a Polynesian term, just means fat and chubby, because he was a big baby. But I just don't think he's going to be able to sustain it for long enough. It's the same thing, like, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago, when I was like, oh, Josh Allen's the clear-cut, MVP front runner at the moment, because he had some sweet games. Now we're not talking about him as much. Not that he's, like, doing any worse, just that, okay, reality kind of set in. He's not on top of the world. He's not a world beater right now at the moment, because we always talk, on a week-to-week basis. But no, I don't think he'll be able to keep this up for another, 11, 12 games?
What do you think, Will?
I unfortunately have to agree. I don't think he breaks the record. 117 yards a game, that's really, really good. 52 receptions for the season over 5 games, just over 10 receptions a game. That's really, really good. I actually think that he could do it. I don't think he's going to be the problem. I worry more about Matt Stafford's longevity over the season because he's getting up there in age, and he is incredibly tough, right? He plays through a lot of stuff, plays through a lot of injury. But as the season winds on, they're going to start dialing that back. So long as they have a playoff spot secured, they're going to start dialing that back and running more to keep Matt Stafford semi-fresh for the playoffs. So I think that there's going to be a drop-off as the season goes on, again, assuming that they have their playoff spot secured.
So I'm actually going to go with over. And the reason why is because he's just getting an insane amount of targets. And typically, when you get more targets and you get more catches, you have more yards. Unless you have a game where you're like Devon Achane and you get 20 catches for 30 yards, you're probably going to have more yards when you have more catches. And so if you look at Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp, who are the two highest guys on this list, Calvin Johnson averaged 7.6 catches a game when he did it, and Cooper Kupp averaged 8.5 catches a game when he did it. Puka Nacua has like an average of like 10.4 catches a game right now. So he's averaging about 2 or 3 more catches than those two guys in the 5 games so far. And Matthew Stafford is just feeding him the ball. He doesn't seem like he's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy. He's just somehow always open. And when you're always open, you're going to get the ball a buttload of times every single game. So that's why I think he's going to break the record. All right, the third one. This is also Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. He is on pace for 177 catches, which would break the record of 149 catches set by Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas. Will Puka Nacua finish over or under this record?
I would say out of the last two, over-unders you've given us, I think this is the most likely. Just because, I mean, I guess barring an injury, he just seems like a consistently good option for Stafford to go to. I mean, the receptions he's already been getting, I mean, compared to the other receivers, is ridiculous. It's clearly an outlier. So, I mean, I could see it, especially, and I want to note something here. He has one of the, well, I don't know how to say this. He doesn't have, his longest catch is 31 yards. Most every other receiver has a longer catch than that already. He goes for a lot of these short routes because he's not averaging a lot of yards. I mean, per catch, I guess. And a lot of those slants, I mean, they're harder to defend. You know, the Ebuka. Also, I'm pretty sure it's Ebuka. I've been hearing everyone say that and not pronouncing the G, but that might be a conversation for another time. But I just
I'm
think
going to go off Rob Gronkowski's pronunciation.
Egg Big Bo.
Egg Big Bo.
I just think with some of these shorter routes, quicker passes, I think the reception thing can get there. I think he could break that record. I'm still going to go under, though. Even with that, I'm still saying under. I don't think he'll do it, but I think he could.
Okay.
I'm going to say over, actually. So we're a quarter of the way through the season, and he's got 52 receptions. The number that really speaks out to me is that his catching percentage is 83.9. He's a very high catch percentage. He's been targeted 62 times, 52 of them he's caught. Now, I don't know about drops. I'm sure drops is a stat I have here. I don't know where it's at, but it doesn't necessarily matter. 62 or 52 for 62 is incredibly good through 5 games. That's a very high number through 5 games. And so if this continues on at the same pace, he's like you said, he's going to crush that record. There's no reason why it's going to stop. It is obvious. It was obvious before the season started that Puka was the number one. He is their wide receiver one, no question. That Cooper Kupp, he moved on. He's in Seattle now. There's no who's the ball going to, who do we have to cover. The answer is Puka Nacua. So it's not like they're hiding anything, just like with any team at the Bengals and Jamar Chase. That's the guy we have to cover. And so he is a true one. He is their true number one for a reason. And like Avery said, his longest reception is only 31 yards. 30, right? 31?
Yep, 31.
This year?
Yes.
Doesn't matter. 31. So his longest reception is 31 yards. And so he's not putting himself out there to get hurt, right? Like most of these big injuries come from these long pass plays where somebody pulls a hamstring or there's a big collision over the middle because the safety was sitting on it and whatnot. And so he's doing the right things and sitting in his zones, and he's just making play after play after play. So I think probably receptions over yards. It's like Avery said, is a record that can get broken. I'm going to say over again.
I'm going to agree with you on this one, Will. I also said over. And the reason is he's on pace to just smash this record. Like, he's on pace for it to not even be close to the record. So exactly what you said. I had the 52 catches on 62 targets thing down. I also wrote down Devontae Adams' targets and catches, so he's been targeted 46 times, and he has 22 catches, which is 30 less than Puka Nacua on only 16 less targets. So his receptions is at 47.8% when Matthew Stafford throws to Devontae Adams. If you're Matthew Stafford, would you rather throw to Puka Nacua where you're completing it 84% of the time, or would you rather throw it to Devontae Adams where you're only completing it 48% of the time? You throw it to Puka Nacua, right?
I think over the year, and especially next year, I think the Devontae Adams numbers go up. It's his first year in the system, and this is Puka's second year, and this is his sophomore year. So third. Yep, third. But either way, second or third doesn't really matter, truly, because Puka grew up under Matt Stafford. Devontae Adams has had a bunch of different quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, and so he's had. There's been more than that. I know. Don't at me, please. But there's similar style, but it is fully different. And so Puka knows how to speak Matt Stafford where Adams is still learning how to speak Matt Stafford. So I think as the year goes on, and even in the next year, because Adams is on a 2-year contract, I think we see those percentages go up.
All right, cool. So the fourth one, Broncos linebacker Nick Benito has 7 sacks in 5 games, and he is on pace for 24 sacks this year, which would break the record of 22.5 sacks in a single season. Will he finish over or under that record?
I'm going to give the obvious answer after you guys go.
Will?
I'll go first. That's fine. I don't have the Broncos' schedule pulled up in front of me, but I'm going to go under because getting a sack is incredibly hard. Just in general, it's just a very hard thing to do in the NFL. The only reason he has 7 this year and got 13.5 last year is because that Broncos secondary is doing good things. And so you're hearing all like coverage stats. Quarterbacks aren't able to throw downfield. But, okay, so who's in the division? The Raiders, they've got the Raiders, Chargers, Chiefs, and then Broncos. I mean, 2 of those 3 have really bad offensive lines, and their quarterback just takes sacks all the time. So that is in his favor, but I still don't think it's going to happen. I think it slows down. As the season goes on, they will start double-teaming him more, and they'll just, like Avery said with Nakua and Buka, or Ebuka, whatever we're trying to call him now, and Mecca will go that way. I think they just adjust to it and say, hey, this guy's the wrecker. Let's stop that guy from wrecking us. So I'm going to say under.
I'm going to agree. I also think he will finish under that record. But I will say this, is that the Broncos lead the league with 21 sacks right now as a team. He has 7 of those. The rest of the team has 14 sacks, which is either tied with or more than 28 other NFL teams. So the Broncos have 10 players on defense who have had at least 1 sack this year, and they have 4 guys on defense who have had at least multiple sacks. And so I feel like with all the guys that they have who can be a threat to get a sack or to rush the passer, there's a possibility that he could get at least in that range because they have so many guys who can get to the quarterback. So it takes more attention away from him instead of having a bunch of double or triple teams on him all the time because there's so many other guys on that team who can get to the quarterback as well. So it forces the offense to not be able to focus on him as much. So I think he's going to finish under, but I think he can get close.
Yeah, he's under. What Will said at the beginning, like it's hard to get a sack. We watched Micah Parsons not be able to sack Dak all but 1 time
For 0 yards.
Yeah, I don't see him going off that much. I think it's kind of the same thing with Ibuka, and this is, I mean, maybe I sound pessimistic. I feel like it's more realistic where it's like, yeah, he had 160 yards this past game. So like now he's on pace to hit this 1,500, yard mark. I mean, if you just take, 160 times 17, this last game after that, just that game, he's on pace for 2,700 yards. It's like, it's not going to happen that way. I think the sacks is the same thing. And I would say that it would be nuts. I would say that Ibuka and Nakua have, they should be on the same team. It's just Ibuka and Nakua. It sounds like a ska band name.
As long as it's on the Bucks, I'm cool with that. As long as it's on the Bucks, I'm cool with that.
I guess unlike receiving yards and touchdowns, I feel like sacks are way more out of your control. As someone who has played a linebacker on college football, Road to Glory, I can tell you personally it's very hard. It's very hard to get sacks. It's much harder than it is to get touchdowns. So
that's true.
It's much further out of your control. So for that reason alone, I'm like, I just don't see him going off like that every game. So,
all right,
great player though.
Cool. So I got one more here, and this is Titans wide receiver Chim DK, who is on pace for 2,264 kick return yards, which would break the record of 2,186 kick return yards. Will he finish over or under that number?
I'm going to say over because the Titans suck, and so they're receiving a lot of kickoff returns. So that's really what we're saying here is he going to return enough kickoffs to get that many yards? Is their defense bad enough? Now, the other part of this is that this gets an asterisk to me. And a lot of these records do, right? Because, oh, well, that record was set back when they were playing 14 games. Of course they're playing 17 now. Sure. The NFL kickoff rules, we talked about these a couple times on this show, are as such where you almost have to let the returner get the ball and return it. Kick it too short, they get it on the 40, 35 or 40-yard line. Here, it's 30, 35. Kick it out of bounds, they get it on the 40. Kick it too short, they get it on the 35. Kick it to the end zone, they get it on the 30. So you might as well just kick it to them and hope for the best. But subsequently, that's the wrong word. It doesn't matter. We're going. Your kickoff team is starting so much closer, and so you have less of a running start. And so the return guys are getting a full head of steam, and they are full running by the time they get the ball already, and no one's allowed to start running often or on the kick return or kickoff team until the ball is caught. And so you can't start moving until he catches the ball, except for the guy who's about to catch the ball, who's going to be running at almost a full head of steam or have his momentum moving in that direction already. This is set up for a returner's dream. If Devin Hester was returning kicks right now in the NFL, people would just be giving the Bears the ball at the 40-yard line. They would just kick it straight out of bounds. I would rather them try to move the ball 60 yards than put the ball in that guy's hands. There's just no way. I think this record is destined to be broken. It may not be Tim. I think it probably will be. He's got it set up. He's on a team with a terrible defense, and so he's getting a lot of opportunities. Let's see. He's got 25 returns already this season. Through 5 games. That's 5 a game. That's incredible. That's too much. That is too many times. Minimum is 1 a game, right? Because you have to kick off either at the start of the game or at halftime. So minimum is 1 a game. He's got 25 through 5 games. That's not great. Not the point. I know, I like it. As long as it's 71 yards, I would think as the season goes on, it's going to both get harder and easier because people are going to want to not play on special teams, right? So these guys' only job is special teams overall. That's what they do. They've got positions on the team, but you are a special teams player. But as injuries happens, now your kickoff guy has to go in as linebacker, but he's still on kickoff, so he's got less energy on kickoff. And so your energy to stop it goes down. And the same thing with kick return. You're filling in actual positions, not that special teams is in an actual position. I don't know. I think it's set up to get broken, whether by Chim or somebody else. But why not this year and why not him, right?
I agree with Will completely. I feel like it's kind of a bit of an asterisk. In fact, I feel like that's kind of the same for a lot of these records, just because now there's 17 games, there's a whole extra game that a lot of these other players didn't have. And it's kind of the same thing with like career points. Like this is, I guess, basketball, but in college, this is my basketball moment, but they added, you can stay an extra year in college. So we had a guy named Armando Bacot who broke the career record of rebounds at Carolina. And it's like, okay, you had an extra year to do it. Like, gave you 20% more games than anyone else. It's like, well, yeah, you got it. Like, I hope you got it. So it's like kind of a bummer. Like, for when the way statistics are viewed, it's like, well, this kind of skews everything. And no one's really going to take into consideration unless you just blew the record out of the water. In which case, okay, the other game doesn't really matter. Like, you were going to do it anyways. This is still, like, great. But I feel like, yeah, it is kind of a bit of an asterisk. And I do think he will break it. And at this point in the NFL, I feel like all you really need is a excellent returner and Brandon Aubrey. And at that point, it's like, hey, we either score or they give it to us at the 40. We get 1 first down, and then we kick a field goal. So it's like, no matter what, we win. And then if it's the Eagles that have it all, then it's like, and then if we get close, we'll touch each other's butts to get this first. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm actually really excited, in a weird way, to see all the changes that happen this next offseason. I feel like a lot of these players are bringing up issues that have to be decided again. I feel like the tush push will be revisited. I think you'll get it.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to finish over the record because of the new kickoff format. And the reason that I actually found this stat is because I was looking I don't know why, I was looking at kick return stats, and I saw that he has 261 more return yards than any other player in the NFL right now. And so I was like, that kind of like is like a lot. And so I was kind of looking at that, and I just happened to look up the kick return record, and I was like, dude, he's gonna break the record for sure.
I don't have the capability to do this. Can you check real quick how many more returns the next guy is
9.
you have? 9. So yeah, okay. Right there it is. That you've had 9 more opportunities because your team sucks. I mean, that's just what it is. Is that your team is bad, and so you're getting more returns. But hey, you know what? That's how records are broken. That's just the way it goes.
Yep.
So
It's the same thing with receiving titles. It's like, oh, your team was bad enough that you guys had to throw the ball a lot during the season and into the late games. You know, if your team was better, if your defense did better, we would have just ran it because we didn't want to risk the interception. But because your team was just bad enough, we had enough of a reason to keep throwing the ball.
All right. Will, how long is your game going to take, you think?
we can make it as fast or as slow as we want.
10 seconds.
All right. Well, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. So I've got 3 different quarterbacks here, all starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm going to list some key stats. I've got all the stats. Not all of them. I've got all of their passing stats. So if you have additional questions, let me know. We're going to call them quarterback 1, quarterback 2, quarterback 3 out of originality. And I want you to tell me which one you want leading your team. Okay? So quarterback 1, we have a 67% completion percentage. We have 990 total yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception on the season. Quarterback 2, we have a 62.3% completion percentage. We have 927 yards, so we are 70 yards less, 63 yards less. We have 8 touchdowns and 2 picks. And then quarterback number 3, we have a 66.9 completion percentage. We have 889 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 picks. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
I think I might know who these people are.
I know the last one for sure.
QBR for number 1 is 57.5. QBR for number 2 is 57.5. QBR for number 3 is 71.6.
Okay. So Will, if Avery and I get these right, who they are, don't tell us, okay?
Okay.
So I think the third one is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Okay, who do you think the other 2 are?
I'm pretty sure the other 2, because I kind of picked up on which direction he was going with this. It wasn't, because I know the yards of the top guys, so I know it's not the top guys. I think it's Mac Jones and Caleb Williams. Oh, that's right.
Okay.
He's not going to tell us. I forgot.
We were off.
I'm really good. I'm also really good at sitting here stone faced. So you're not gonna get me out of that one.
Okay. Was there a question? Did I miss it?
So the question is who would you want leading your team?
What were the interceptions again for each quarterback?
So quarterback 1 has thrown 1 interception this season. Quarterback 2 has thrown 2 interceptions this season. And quarterback 3 has thrown 0. Quick digress here. Yards per game. Number 1 has 198 yards per game. Number 2 has 231 yards per game. And number 3 has 177 yards per game. Number 1 has taken 9 sacks this season. Number 2 has taken 7 sacks this season. And number 3 has taken 15 sacks this season.
I would say whichever number Mac Jones is. After I named him, now I'm like having trouble remembering which number everyone was.
Mac Jones, not on the list.
Really?
Ooh.
Mac Jones is not one of these 3 quarterbacks.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Let's see.
So quick overview one more time here. Quarterback number 1 990 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Quarterback number 2, 927 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Quarterback number 3, 889 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
I think I know who number 1 is. I think I know who number 1 is.
Is it Rattler?
It is Rattler.
It is Rattler.
It's Spencer Rattler.
Oh, I was off. Okay, well, that makes this a lot more interesting now because I was like, Mac Jones, duh. And now I'm like, oh. Shoot. Because this is my brief thinking right now, and then I'll let Joel speak more on it. I feel like Jalen Hurts is doing what is needed to win games in Philadelphia. I don't think he's necessarily out there trying to create, some hype for him for the next team he plays for. He's not throwing a whole lot. It feels like he's doing what is necessary to win. He is an Eagles player. Rattler, he plays on the Saints. So even though, he's not doing great, I'm sure he's at no further up than middle of the league in stats, but I'm sure that it would be a lot better if he was on a better team. I'd probably say, Joel, you go first.
No, but so first off, I want to say, Avery, I'm going to post that thing that you said about Jalen Hurts on social media, and Eagles fans are going to absolutely rip you apart because they're going to be so butthurt at you that you said something bad about their team.
Well, then let me do it again, and I'll hit a little harder next time.
No, Eagles fans are. We already know that the Eagles fans are the worst, but on social media, if you say anything bad about their team, they are mean. They are so.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Trash your own streets? Idiots.
So really, there's 3 not great options here, right? I was gonna say number 3, just simply because of the no turnovers. Because when you have no turnovers, that's a big factor in the game. Even 1 turnover can make a difference. And I know it's over the course of 5 games, but still, if you look at the Buccaneers, in the 1 game that the Buccaneers turned over the football, they lost. In the 1 game that they turned it over. So I feel like I would say number 3 just because there's no turnovers there.
It's 3 was Hurts. I'm probably straying from the game here, but I'm trying to see it as Caleb Williams versus Hurts. And I feel like they're just playing different games. I don't want to say Caleb Williams because I wouldn't want to build a team around him. I'd probably take Hurts.
So number 3?
What if Hurts wasn't one of the 3 quarterbacks? What if you're just wrong?
I had not considered that. Well, I'm almost positive that other one that I got wrong that wasn't Mac Jones is Spencer Rattler, and I would not choose him. Dude, that guy's been passed around because he wasn't good in college his whole career. It's like you're going to go pro, and then you're going to be like, oh, we never realized how good you were.
Spencer Rattler's only ever played for 1 NFL team. Mac Jones has played for 4 now.
No, but in college, didn't he play for? He ended with. He's at South Carolina. He was at Oklahoma.
And he was also at USC.
I think.
Was it USC?
No, I think it was just the 2, wasn't it?
Was it just the 2?
Maybe.
All I know is anyway, I don't want to.
Oh, I'm saying Caleb Williams went from Oklahoma to USC, or vice versa, 1 or 2.
Yeah, first one, yeah. Yeah, I would take Hurts, and then assuming it's the other guy is shoot, who were we saying?
Caleb.
Is Rattler? Caleb Williams. I'd say Caleb Williams is second. I just there's something about him that's throwing me off. I don't know what it is, but that guy is a little bit of an enigma and a little bit not of an enigma enough. I just I don't know.
All right.
I don't want to say this other thing, but yeah, it's them.
Quarterback quarterback number 1 is Spencer Rattler. You were correct. He is 119 of 177 this season, 67% completion percentage. So 990 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. He honestly is not having statistically a bad season. The Saints are just bad, and he looks bad doing it. That's the problem, is that he looks bad doing it. Quarterback number 2 is Caleb Williams. You were correct. He is 81 of 130 this season. They have only played 4 games. They have a bye week already, and he is at 927 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's having statistically a pretty good season, especially if he already has a bye. And then number 3 is Jalen Hurts. You were right there as well, who's 93 of 139, which is a 66.9% completion, 7 touchdowns, 0 picks, and they are obviously 4-1. And so I think what I'm getting at here with this game is that if you put Jalen Hurts on the Saints or the Bears, and if you were to just swap Jalen Hurts and Caleb Williams teams, I think those teams are in the exact same spot. I think the Eagles are still 4-1. I think the Bears are still 2-2. I think that those two are interchangeable. I think Spencer Rattler is a bit of a misnomer here. I do think it's funny that Rattler's having a better season, kind of, than Caleb Williams, because everybody talks, well, all the Bears fans talk about how good Caleb Williams is. He's not. But he's also only played 4 games. So I just wanted to point out the fact that nobody's calling Jalen Hurts a good quarterback. No one's calling him the best quarterback in the league. He's not often considered even top 5. But anytime you talk about the Eagles or you talk about Jalen Hurts, it's Super Bowl champion Jalen Hurts. Well, sure, but he didn't yes, the Chiefs stopped the run and Jalen Hurts had to throw the football in the Super Bowl. He did win it with his arm pretty well in the Super Bowl. But that is not that team anymore. I think you said it, Avery, where he's doing just enough to win and he's not doing more because he doesn't have to. Sure, but still, on seasons like that, the quarterback is going to be the one that takes the hit for it. And when it comes down to it and it gets further in the season and people are committed to stop the run, but yet their quarterback play hasn't been there, I'm worried, not like I'm worried for the Eagles because I don't like those guys, but I would suspect that the Eagles have a rough time pulling themselves back out of it. When you start slow, it's hard to pick up later in the season.
I would say, let me clarify. With Jalen Hurts, I don't mean he's like not doing any more than he needs to. I would just say that, he's doing what the team has required of him. Like he's going above and beyond for the team while sacrificing some quarterback stats that you would like to show off. You know, if down the road he's looking at his stats and his kids are asking, like, what about this season? This whole stretch, you didn't have many passing yards. Like, well, it's, because we have Barkley and we're trying to run it more. And, we wanted to be able to, trick them and conserve plays this way and that way. And they're like, yeah, I just don't think you were that great at throwing, where it's one of those things where it's like, hey, you're not going to have a statistically great year. Your top wide receiver is already like complaining online. So I'm like, you guys are winning, though, and, you're kind of looking like the Chiefs this year. You're looking like that team that everyone wants to beat. You won the Super Bowl. The Chiefs aren't great. By the way, I did have them not making the playoffs, and it's looking good for me so far, but it's still early. But just saying, like, hey, dude, you're the quarterback on the best team. All you got to make sure is that the team keeps winning. Like, if you're winning, you're good. It's hard to tell what he's capable of, because he's in a system that requires him to do his job that he needs to do rather than like, hey, let's see what you got. Hey, we're kind of at a loss here. Baker Mayfield going into Tampa is, hey, just be you. Let's see what you got, and then we'll build some pieces around it. This is more like, we need you to do this. We need guys to push your butt. They are going to pack your fudge, to get you over that line. It's like, it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun, but you're going to win. And everyone knows you're going to do it, and everyone's going to see you getting your, pushed on national television. You're not going to be throwing it as much. Your top receiver is going to be upset, but you're going to be winning games. So I think, let's say I think he's a good player. My main point was that I wasn't sure if you were comparing these quarterbacks to make a point that they're all about the same level, or that the teams don't change much. Like, if you swap the quarterbacks around, the teams are going to do the like just as well. Because I would say that is true. I feel like most of those quarterbacks could be just swapped around, but I think that's less about the quarterbacks being the same and more about it having more to do with the teams. Like, swapping a quarterback isn't going to make the team a whole lot better. You know, bringing in Flacco to the Browns or the Bengals isn't going to stop him from getting his leg snapped. Like, it's just not. Like, it's already happened to 2 quarterbacks. It's like, dude, you're being thrown into the meat grinder right now. Like, this is the fastest way to retirement possible. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know what my actual point was here. Just to point out stats. I truly, it was just to point out stats. Like, we give both Spencer Rattler, we meaning me specifically, give Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams so much crap. These guys are bad. You can't do anything. They drafted Tyler Shuck, and now Tyler Shuck can't even play. Caleb Williams is a terrible quarterback. He just can't do anything. But yet, statistically, minus the win-loss column, statistically, those guys are having better seasons than Super Bowl champion Jalen Hurts. But just in the same vein, we talk about how Patrick Mahomes, has not had as good as statistically regular seasons over the past few years because he doesn't have to. So it's just kind of one of those, like, what is it? Like a gluttonous thing. Like, your team is so good that, you know what? I don't have to be good. They can be good. I don't have to. So, I didn't really have a point. I was just pointing out statistically where he ranked. Jalen Hurts is 23rd on the quarterback ranking list right now for, like, yards and stuff like that. 23rd in the NFL.
Yep. But for the Eagles, it doesn't really matter because they're 4-1.
It doesn't matter.
So, yep.
True.
All right. So we got probably about like 10 minutes left in the show. And so we're going to do one more topic here real quick, which is who or what has been the biggest surprise of the NFL season so far. So I'm going to start on this one. And the player that I think is the most surprising to me through 5 weeks of the season is Geno Smith. Geno Smith looks like he thinks that he plays for the Jets again. He has been truly terrible this year. You know, he was in Seattle as the starter for 3 years as the starter, and he wasn't great, but he was a good quarterback. He was a good quarterback for Seattle in the 3 years that he was a starter there. And then as soon as he goes to the Raiders, everybody thinks it's going to be a great situation because Pete Carroll went and got him. He's worked with him before. He knows what Pete Carroll wants to do. And then he has just truly been terrible. The last time that Geno Smith threw more interceptions in a season than he did touchdowns was when he was with the Jets. And this year, he has thrown 6 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in 5 games, and he's on pace to throw 30 interceptions this year. If you take away Geno Smith's interceptions, the Raiders are in a significantly better situation than they are right now. They don't take it down to the very last play of the game against the Bears. They probably win that game because Geno Smith is not throwing interceptions. Against the Chargers, they had multiple chances to win that game, and he just kept throwing interceptions. Geno Smith has truly been terrible this year, and so I thought he was going to be a lot better. I thought he was going to help the Raiders to actually compete and be a better team than they were last year, but he is on par with the quarterbacks that they had last year, and that's not good. So that's the biggest surprise of the season for me is Geno Smith.
Yeah, I was pretty hyped for the Raiders this season. Ashton Genty, Geno Smith, Pete Carroll. I said it on this show. I was pretty hyped for the Raiders. I actually early on was considering them as like, maybe I'll just be a Raiders fan. Vegas is easy enough to get to. We're going to a game here in a month. Maybe I'll just be a Raiders fan. And then I didn't do that. Like that, they're just not. That's just not it. But still, I'm a bit sad about it. honestly. It has been pretty surprising. I agree with that.
Yeah. But you made a good choice not going with them.
Yeah.
All right. Avery, who or what has been the biggest surprise of the season for you so far?
I'm gonna have to say the number 6 best receiver in the league right now, Christian McCaffrey. The fact that he's standing on 2 feet, to me, is a surprise.
Yeah.
He's not particularly doing great rushing. I mean, he's not doing bad necessarily, but he's not, popping off. But receiving, yeah, man's a receiver now. He's averaging 77 yards a game. He's got 3 touchdowns. He's got more receptions than most receivers. Now, it's probably just like, you've got to do everything, dude. We don't have any more weapons. So, like, the fact that the 49ers are not only having to, like, scramble and put some pieces together to cover for McCaffrey being out, it's the opposite. It's now he is the only one around, and they are having to just put everything on his shoulders, and somehow that is not breaking him. And I'm still just, every time I see him, I just look at him like a glass cannon, a glass nuke. I'm like, this guy could go off and then just shatter. But so far he is not, and that is surprising to me.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. He's actually 3rd in receptions in the whole league right now.
Jeez.
That's pretty crazy.
Well, with no Ayuk, no Debo, Jennings, no Pearsall from week to week. They literally have no Kittle. They have no one else. Just like you said, Avery, he's doing it all. He is the Niners. Him and Mac Jones or Brock Purdy or whatever average-looking white guy they put back there.
Yeah.
All right. Will, what's the biggest surprise of the season for you so far?
I'd like to start with some honorable mentions here. The Dolphins get an honorable mention as how surprisingly bad they are. The Ravens get I've got my team here, and then the next team below them is the Ravens. They are incredibly surprising. I picked them to win the Super Bowl 1 or 2. I don't know, something way up there, and they are just bad. And Cooper Rush is bad, and Derrick Henry, I thought he would have a 2,000-yard season. We'll be lucky if we get 1,000 yards out of him this season. That team is just bad. But I'm going to go with Indiana Jones and the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah,
that truly surprising in the most positive way. And I'm known on this show as a bit of a hater, so I'm trying to change my image just this much. And so I think, and I'm not a Colts fan, but I do like to see bad teams be successful. Oh, also on this list, the Jaguars. They are doing very well this year. A solid honorable mention for the Jaguars. But the Colts, literally no one expected them. When the quarterback battle was between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, everyone's like, oh, you have 2 of the statistically worst quarterbacks in the NFL from last year battling for your starting job. And then Daniel Jones comes out and plays like he's Peyton Manning. And it's like, what is this? And it's been fun to watch.
Peyton Manning?
You're right. Daniel Jones can run. Peyton Manning can never run.
Okay. That's exactly what I was getting at. Yeah.
Anyway, no, I think it's been fun to watch. Also on this list, AFC South being good is so shocking. Like they've got 3 teams. They could legitimately have 2 teams in the playoffs, which just hasn't happened in a long time. So I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts and Indiana Jones specifically.
Yeah, that is. I agree. That's very surprising. I actually think, just personally, I think the Jaguars is more surprising to me than the Colts, because the Colts have actually been kind of right on the edge of a playoff team, and they haven't had a quarterback, and so the fact that they have a decent quarterback playing right now is not as surprising to me as the Jaguars not just being total crap, because the Jaguars have just been terrible, and the Colts have actually been a mediocre team. They're like what the Dallas Cowboys were with Jason Garrett. The last couple of years, they've just been mediocre, and the Jaguars have just been terrible. So I would say the Jaguars are a little bit more surprising to me than the Colts, but I think the Colts are definitely a surprise as well. All right. Well, that's all we got time for today, guys. We will be back next week with some more stuff. Again, I have no idea what we're talking about next week. But as always, don't forget to keep your balls played with. We'll see you next time.
Bye now, y'all.
Also, Mark Davis's haircut still sucks.